And so we are at a lovely time of the year. This is the beginning of summer. It is the beginning of the harvest time. It's important for us, for you, to realize that everyone harvests. Everyone receives a harvest because you all plant. You do not think of it often as planting, but you do plant. You plant with every word and with every action that you take, with every decision. It affects how your life turns out. What is attracted to you? What are you creating in this life? It is something that you have planted. It is an idea you had that you pursued. It is a goal that you wanted to manifest in your life. It could be anything, but summertime is the traditional time for growth and harvesting. Now, this time of year, at this time, the astrology, not just this year, but the astrology, the planets are impelling you to take actions, to do things, to change, to seek other things in your life, so that your life may seem a little upturned. If you live in the country, you may see that the farmers have plowed their fields, and for the moment, all you see is dirt. They have put those seeds in, and those seeds will germinate. When the farmer is the epitome of the act of faith that you all make in your lives over many things. You take an action which you believe will bring to you what you want. You make a decision which you believe will bring to you what you want. Those are the seeds that you are busy planting. And the farmer has planted his seeds into the earth after he has plowed it up. And soon there will be green things coming through the earth, the manifestation of the seeds. And so this upset that is happening in your life, which is impelling you to take action and do things to manifest what you want. These things will soon come through in your life. That these is what you are planted. And the summer is the time of germination and the time of growth. It is not the time of harvesting. Harvesting will come a bit later. And of course, this is all an analogy to what goes on in your life. You cannot be impatient when you plant your seeds. Every seed has a different germination period and a length of time that it must grow before it can bear fruit. And this is true about your life. Do not be impatient, for you will harvest. But first must come the germination and the growth period before that which you have planted can yield its fruit and manifest into your life. Now remember that everything you say and do is a planting. Words spoken in anger, in harshness to others, is the planting which may bring bad blood between you and that person. Not peace and harmony, but disharmony, unhappiness. Words spoken in kindness and love will bring back kindness and love. For that which you plant is what you harvest. And so, whatever it is you wish to harvest, you must work out and start with the planting. So if you wish to harvest love, by all means, give love, send it out, and then you will reap love. If you wish to harvest prosperity, then you must also give. You must give what you have. Some of it must go to invest. Some of it must be given to other people. You must send it forward to start the flow of prosperity to you. For that which you give, so it is that which you receive. What you send forth, that is what you harvest. And so, if you wish to harvest money, you must give some money to charity, to friends, to people you love. You must help others so that you will receive, and it will be returned to you in great abundance. If you wish to receive happiness, you must think about what makes you happy and take the actions that can make you happy, whatever they are. Being kind to people, planting a garden, helping to fund people through GoFundMe, and all these things, there are ways to have things come back to you. So give some thought to that in the summertime, the time of the growth, before the manifestation and the harvest, to allow for the time and the growth to come so that you may harvest that which you wish and that which you desire. Now, it is time for me to answer your questions. Does anybody have a question they would like answered?
I do. This is Mary Jo.
Okay,
I
one
wanted-
moment. Julia, Mary Jo has a question first.
I wanted to know about the future of the United States. How are we going to financially get back to good times with the inflation and gas prices?
It is going to take some time before you can get rid of inflation. Much has been done to include and inspire finances and money was put into the economy. Many people, believe it or not, have quite a bit of money, and they have been trying to spend it. And so they wish to buy things. But there are many problems in your supply chain, as they say. There were some problems with the animals, with the chickens. Sometimes the harvests were not so good. There wasn't transportation. And so your supply lines became damaged. And what was being created could not even reach the markets. And so it was hard. And there was no helpers, no workers. So your question is, when will it get back? And those who have been asking spirit or go to see a psychic or something, these questions of when are most difficult to answer, because for to see into the future, there is no exact understanding of time. You are eclipsing time, and I cannot see time any better than most psychics can see time. So, when will it be better? I cannot answer that question, but it will be better, because it is a law that as the pendulum swings in one direction, so it will swing in the other direction. And so eventually, your inflation will become smaller and smaller, or everything will have reached a point that nobody wants to pay that much money for what there is. And so they do not buy it. They will change their buying habits. And eventually the pendulum will swing in the other direction. And prices will come down. And availability will go up. So if you could say your question one more time, I would appreciate it to see if I can answer any part of it in a better fashion.
I asked, when is the United States going to get back to financially good times?
It will probably take at least another 2 years, is what I have to say.
Okay.
Because we have not finished pushing the pendulum. You have not finished pushing the pendulum in the direction of inflation. And so there will be improvement, but it will take a little while. And if you have ever watched the pendulum swing, when it has a very long swing, it seems to pause at the end of its swing. It is not really paused. It is continuing to move in that direction, whatever the direction was. It is only apparently stopped. And then it reverses itself, again moving slowly forward. So you will not be able to see a particular point in time when the pendulum has reversed itself and things are going to get better. But do not expect things to change much for another 2 years. Things will continue, but they will be slightly different. And supply will pick up. And as it picks up, so it is that the good times, as you have asked, have said it, will be improved. Now, I have a question from the person who is on the phone. And could you ask your question again? Julia? The question involves the war in Ukraine. And I believe she is asking when it will stop. It will stop when Mr. Putin has decided that he will stop it. And it will take some time. Yet, he has not yet destroyed enough of the country. He has said that there will not be a country left. And this is his goal. And think about what he is saying when he has said that. He is saying that he will destroy everything. And he has certainly succeeded in Mariupol and in other cities by destroying or damaging most of the buildings. He feels that that country is a threat to him. And he has decided that the threat must be eliminated. And so he will continue to work at destroying the country until there is nothing left as far as he is concerned. So I believe that it will be perhaps another month or two before he makes that decision. And I hope that has answered your question fully. Yes, she is happy with the answer. And are there other questions?
Hi, this is Charlotte. So I might have mentioned before that my son left for Texas. He was supposed to leave on Thursday, but they canceled the flight on Thursday night because of thunderstorms. So he had to leave on Friday morning. And he finally got there. And he's been there for a few days. And I've heard from him. He's living separately from his children, but he has seen them. And I just wonder if you could tell me, I don't even think he knows what he's going to do in the future. He's still having his house repaired in Rockaway, which was kind of really damaged overall by water pipes breaking and water damaging the house. And they had to really rebuild the house. They just finished putting a roof on, and they've taken down walls and floors, and they're rebuilding each room. And it's going to take a while, and it's going to take money, which is going to be quite a lot, and will not be replenished because the insurance company canceled the policy. So he's not getting any insurance money. So it's going to be coming out of my pocket and his, which is okay. I'm feeling that I'm helping him with part of his inheritance now instead of later. But I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, he probably wants to sell the house and move to Texas, but he doesn't know anyone in Texas. It's kind of going to be, not not as welcoming if he's not allowed into the house where the children are and the grandparents. And will he rent a house or buy a house? He's planning to take his 2 grand pianos and as much furniture as he can, feel is necessary. But I don't even think he knows what's going to happen in the future. The only thing is that he wants to be with his children while they're young and formidable. The little girl just turned 4 on Saturday, and the little boy is 1.5 years. And they're darling children, and my heart is breaking. I just don't know what the future holds for them and my son, Dan. And I wonder if you could shed some light on to what you feel or think might happen.
I understand your concern for your son and your fears. So you will help him rebuild his home that has been damaged, but he has made it clear that he wishes to move to Texas. And although it is a long distance away from you, what he is doing is not unusual. People move, and when they move to a strange or new place, they begin to meet people and they make friends, and he will do the same. He will explore music opportunities, the teaching opportunities that he has already had. And in doing so, he will make friends within the possibility of employment and people in that area. And as a result, he will find work for himself. Where he lives is of no importance. He will either rent an apartment or rent a home or buy a home, whatever is available to him. Or he will simply make a new life. You need not be so concerned because he is an adult and a very mature adult. And although he sometimes appears irresponsible, this is not so. He merely has a different set of values that he is working on. And you yourself have given him those values in many ways. And so he has always done what is best for himself. I know that the tragedy of his home was because he was not there, because he wished to be in Texas. And so it is good for him to sell that home and take the proceeds and buy something in Texas that is suitable for himself, or simply rent things in Texas. So it does not matter what happens, just know that it will be okay. That is what is most important, is your knowledge that everything will be okay, because what you think is what you attract to yourself. Also, what you create. As you think, so you create. You want him to be happy. You want him to be well. So see him happy, see him well, know that he is going to make the right decisions and he is going to be successful in Texas, that he will get to see his children regularly, that he will find ways to ensure that he will get to see his children regularly and be an influence on them as he wishes to be. And so you should not worry. That is imagining all the wrong things that you do not want to have happen to him. So see him healthy, see him well, see him with friends, see him gainfully employed. Know that these things are true, and this is what will happen to them, and this is what will happen to him. Because you thought about it, you created it. And in many ways, he is thinking about it, or he is thinking about where would he live? How much money can he have? Can he be close to his children? He has seen them, that is good. Continuing to see them, even though he is not allowed in the house, is what he needs to do. And perhaps he will take legal action to continue to see them and get rights with them. The visiting rights is what I mean to say when I say that he will get rights with him. He will be guaranteed certain actions if he takes the time to pursue this in a civil way, in courts, in justice. This is what can happen for him. So know that he will take the right actions, and he will do the right things to make his life happy. And so it will be. Know this to be true, and you will create his self-confidence, his knowledge, his rationale will help him to move forward. Are there other questions?
Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Are there
Yes.
other questions?
Yes, I have a question. When the medium was giving the meditation, she was saying how our thoughts are God's thoughts and our words are God's words. How come we're not more careful with our mouths? Like I try to think about it, but then after I get done, it's already out of the barn and it's hard to bring it back.
I understand that it's the way it is with many people, but if you understand that you are the creator of this world, and in many ways, your words are God's words, and your actions are God's actions. So sometimes you get angry and you say the wrong words. You can take it back by just saying, I did not mean that. Apologize. Wish the person well instead. Whatever reason you got angry at, let go of it and wish the person well. And apologize if you need to. And that is how you take the word back. Now, actions, the same thing. Sometimes you can stop what you have started. But it is really important to recognize that you are one with God in all ways. And the things that you say and do influence how the world turns out. Just as I have spoken to Charlotte, to think about what she wants her son to have and to do and receive. If she thinks about it in a broad way, she wants him to be happy. She wants him to be healthy. She wants him to know his children and be a good influence on his children. And these things, she thinks about that and affirms those thoughts, so it is that she is affecting the world with her thoughts. And she is creating what it is that she wishes her son to experience and receive. So when you have made a mistake and said something that you regret, do what you can, which is to apologize, to send out better thoughts, to wish them well. If your actions caused harm to someone, it is the same. Apologize. Do what you can to reverse what you have said or done, to hope that they are well. Wish them well. Make amends in whatever way you can. And then you have done your best. And I hope that answer has been helpful to you.
Yes, I have another question about the state of the people in the United States with all this mass shootings and it almost is senseless killings every time you turn around. I have not been paying much attention to the news, but it's very hard to not hear about it or see about it. And even I see things happening in this little sleepy town I live in where people are stealing from each other and doing things. Do you see an end in this, or returning back to God or source, or whatever you want to call, whatever people want to call him, and taking stock of their lives and making some changes?
Many times people take stock of their lives. Whether they realize that they are responsible for their lives is part of the question. And there has been a period of time now where people were concerned with giving children a good ego, giving them self-confidence. And so there was and has been and still is a period of praising children, many times unnecessarily. People have had the thought, oh, let them be children. But what is childhood for? Childhood is for the purpose of learning and growing. They have to learn responsibility. That is what the lesson is of childhood. And they learn this lesson of responsibility in many ways. But part of it is often taking responsibility for something in the home, being responsible for doing their own homework, for having chores around the house, and behaving in ways that are acceptable to the parents and the rest of society. So you teach the children to be responsible. Now, there have been too many years where we have excused children from responsibility. And so they do not always act responsibly. They can blame others for their mistakes. And you ask about your little town and the things that people do. They steal from one another. they act unkindly to others, the only thing that you can do is to be kind to yourself and monitor your own actions and your own words. And I'm sure you do these things. And as such, you become an example to others. Sometimes an example that people will decide they want to emulate. And so they will try to be kinder. They will try to be nicer. They will try to be responsible, that they will try to be encouraging of others to take actions which are more helpful to others. This is how it will eventually change. But it takes being responsible for yourself and allowing others to act however they will. Do not be judgmental on them. They know when they are wrong. They are ignoring what they were taught or what they should have been taught and are now old enough to learn by themselves that they must behave more responsibly. They cannot steal from others. They cannot hurt others without affecting some consequences to themselves. Eventually, people learn all these things. And that is why you have the story of the wise woman or the wise old man. Older people have learned from sometimes years of mistakes. And very often they turn into wise old people who no longer fight, who work for peace, who try to create peace in their lives. This is what they begin to value: peace and love and happiness. Of course, there are many old people who reach an age and just begin to feel bitter and unhappy that they have never achieved or gotten what they wanted in life, never taking responsibility, even at an old age, to say, well, I am not rich, but I did not work hard for a living. I took the easy way out all the time. So they blame others. And there is nothing you can do about that except send out love, tolerance, acceptance, and do your best yourself that you can. Just do the best that you can. Be as loving and good as you can possibly be. And that will make a difference in the world. Certainly in the world around yourself. Those that you love and those that love you, friends, family members. This is how you transform the world. So know that it is possible over time. It would take a miracle to have it happen all at once and have everyone suddenly be honest and helpful and always obeying the 10 Commandments. But if you look around, you will see that really most people try to be kind and helpful, that there are legions of kind, helpful individuals out there. And these people, well, you won't say that they have changed the planet, but they are making a difference. Now you talk about, unfortunately, the mass shootings, which in a way makes me very sad, although I am not emotional. It is a pity that some people would think that killing other people might solve a problem or might ease their pain. these people are sick. And while most of them have not survived those incidences, which is a perfect example of receiving what you are putting out, how fast it can come back to you. These people are sick in the head, seeking to resolve pain or injustices by inflicting pain and injustice on others. And so they need to be pitied, they need to be loved. And if they did not kill themselves as well as others, they would need to be helped to see things in a different way. Perhaps confined to a building and be taught and shown through the teachings of others. Many people come into prisons, many religious people, and seek to teach the inmates. There are many people that help the inmates to try to give them a better life by showing them a better way. Whether it's something like AA or a religious organization, these things all seek to be of assistance to those in prison and to help them. And so, if they are allowed out at some time, hopefully they have new skills, new ways of thinking, and so that they are able to be successful in their new life once they are free of prison. That is all that I can say on the subject of the violence. Unfortunately, when people take actions such as this violence, it sometimes inspires others, because we always inspire others by our own actions. That is why I say that if you want to be loved, you have to give love, and then those around you will love you. If you want to be prosperous, perhaps you need to give things generously to others, whether they be things or money. It's up to you. But you can do that. And unfortunately, bad actions, lying, cheating, and violence can be just as inspiring as good things. Or your words and actions always inspire others. The words and actions of people who are sick and violent also inspire others. And so that is the sadness of life upon the planet Earth. And those who wish to make a difference, such as yourself, need only continue to do your best, to be kind, to be forgiving, to be happy and joyful. Love others, share love, and share your life. And you then will influence the world to be better. Are there other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
My daughter has been in a relationship with her boyfriend, and just wondering what the future holds for them, if they will be getting married. Just any thoughts on that?
You just said your daughter ended the relationship. Is that not correct?
No, she is in a relationship.
Oh,
Um,
she's in a
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, and I was just wondering if there was marriage in the future. They've been together for 3 years now.
Yes. It is not so much in everybody's future now. Yes, people be together. They live together without making permanent commitments through an act of ceremony, such as a marriage ceremony. Many times they are just as committed as people who have been through marriage ceremonies, but they see some advantages to not having that ceremony, not being married. And there are advantages. Some of them are legal, some of them are financial, and there are advantages to being married, which are legal and financial. So it depends upon what your daughter wants. At this point in time, she is happy with the current arrangement, with no desire to make a change. And as her mother, if she is happy, you should be happy.
Oh,
And,
yes. Mhm.
and as such, she will continue to live a happy life. At some point in time, one moment, let me think about this a moment. And may I have your daughter's first name, please?
Samantha
And her boyfriend's first name?
Udo, Udo.
Udo. Samantha and Udo. One moment. I believe I have found them. One moment. I cannot tell you whether they will formalize their relationship, but I see it lasting a good long time. It is going to continue. So whatever the situation is, it would be, I believe there will come a time when they desire to get married for several different reasons, and which they perceive as their best interest. Right now, they are perfectly happy with the way things are, and that you shouldn't, I cannot change what I have said. I see them continuing in this relationship in this way for quite a number of an advancement of time. But I do believe that they will decide to get married at some point in time.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
So just by answering Mary Jo, I have a 30-year-old granddaughter, and her boyfriend is 30. They'll both be 30 in October. They met in college. They're living separately, he with his two best friends and her with her two best friends. They've been together for 8 years. They're now thinking of moving in together when their leases are up, which would be within the year. And I also would like to know, I don't know how old Mary Jo's daughter is, but my granddaughter will be 30 in October, and I'm wondering if you see anything in the future for them. I believe they want to get married, but they're just not ready yet, or not interested in getting married. Do you?
Well, they are starting to be interested in being together. And that
Yeah.
is already changing. So when you are saying they have not been interested getting married, not even in the pseudo marriage of a living arrangement.
Living together. Yeah. I mean, they've been living together like during COVID at my daughter's house. Everybody was sequestered there. So they were there for about a year, kind of living together before they were able to go back to their, other living arrangements with their friends. So I know they're compatible, and I would be delighted if they're wonderful together. I look at them as a very good couple.
Yes, well, they will have their time. And as you have said, they are now thinking about, once again, joining together. But this time, not in quite the group setting that it was before.
Mm-hmm.
You understand it?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was more than just her and him.
Right.
And so now they are looking to be more exclusive, which is very nice with one another and shows in the progression of the relationship. And once they feel comfortable living together, they will continue to let that progress.
Right. Okay.
They
Thank
need
you.
to try it for their own comfort when there's only two of them together.
Right.
And
Thank you.
don't rush them.
No, I'm not rushing. I think it's wonderful. They're doing so many wonderful things together. They're traveling. Well, they did travel before COVID a lot more, and they're enjoying their lives. Doing things they wouldn't be able to do if they were married. And so, I guess that's good.
Yes. Are there other questions?
Yes, I'm not interested in being married, but I have a question about, I belong to a healing circle, and I noticed for the last, I want to say maybe month and a half, there is someone who also belongs to the healing circle. And whenever we stand next to each other during the circle, there's like this magnetic pull. I can't describe how it happens, but no matter where I put my hands, it always seems to attach itself to that person. And he has said to me that even when we've changed positions, not to be next to each other, he says he feels like there's some kind of magnetic pull also. And last week when he healed me, he said it felt as though the belt buckle on his pants were just riveted to the back of the chair. And I was just wondering if you could tell me what that is. Is it just our energy together is strong, or should I stay away from him? I don't know.
Well, I will try to look into the situation for you. These type of things are sometimes difficult to understand. Would you give me his first name, please? Do you mind giving me his first name?
No, his first name is Richie.
Richie.
And I met him at the Healing Circle shortly before Vince passed away.
It does not matter when you met him, but let me look into it. I have found it for you. I believe I have found it. There was a previous lifetime in which you were both, well, I need to explain it as being members of a healing circle together, but it was very different. than what you do now. It was a religious way of life. And in this religious way of life, which was dedicated to the healing arts, this was quite a long time ago, hundreds of years, perhaps, maybe more than 1,000, that this relationship and this type of school existed. And you were like sisters together. Not that you were related physically, but as you realize that you can have friends which are so close to you that they feel like they are family. And you both entered in the same year into this, I do not know how to express it, into this training school. And it was, I do not know, it was not ancient Rome. It was another time. And I tried to find it in Greece, but as there was belief in gods with special powers, and there was a dedicated clergy and dedicated other people to their progression, the giving of healing powers, using of healing powers. In other words, people would go to the god or the goddess via its alkaloids, and you were an alkaloid to this particular god. I cannot give you a name of this. I do not see it well enough. I am sorry, but you were slaves. No, you were not slaves, but you were dedicated to the service of this god, goddess, in which people could apply to have healing. And you were educated in the healing arts of the time, as well as in the mental healing arts that were available, similar to the ones that you are using now. These dedicated arts, you were with this person and as sisters in service to this goddess of healing, and people would come to you. So it is a similar situation which you had with this individual, both acting as healers, and it's that vibration that you feel in this life, in this current time. So that is what is happening. The attraction is there because it was there, and it remains, of course, part of your being. That which you have been is what you continue to be.
Thank you.
I hope that is helpful. I've not explained it well, but it is the best that I could do. You must think of these temples, but it is not the Roman ones or the Greek ones. It was a different society, but it had its own gods and its own temples.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And also, all of a sudden, people have been calling me up saying, could you come and say a healing prayer over me? And in the beginning, I was a little uncomfortable, but I'm noticing that ever since that started, I'm more outgoing with if they want to come and be here. I try to impress on them that I'm not the healer, that it comes from the source. And I think that held me back for the longest time. But all of a sudden, it just all seems to be falling into place. And I was thinking that might have something to do with it. Thank you.
A past life, quite a long time ago. but one that is very similar to what you are fulfilled with now.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We are running out of time. Is there anyone else who would have a question?
I have a question.
Yes.
My sister-in-law, her name is Robin. She has had a biopsy of her lymph nodes. They sent it to pathology. They didn't really get the results they wanted. They were suspicious of lymphoma, but really couldn't diagnose it. They did another biopsy 10 days ago, and they're still waiting for the results. And the doctors seem somewhat perplexed because they say that they think it's a form of lymphoma, and then they come back and say they're not sure because her test results aren't absolute. Do you have any insight into her cancer diagnosis? Maybe if it is lymphoma or some other possible disease?
And this is your sister-in-law?
Sister-in-law, my brother's wife.
Yes. Robin. What seems to be is that although she is not well, they are just looking in the wrong direction. That is what I could say. They are thinking that it is this, but it is not. And they are testing for that rather than looking to see what is it. But they are, I can only say that they are looking in the wrong direction, and that your sister-in-law can help herself by affirming and knowing that she is well, that she is not sick, that whatever is bothering her, it is something else and not really sickness. But she has, I will say, an unhappiness. And it is this unhappiness which is producing the symptoms that she experiences. And as a result, she is not really sick in the sense you will not be able to, the doctors just will not be able to diagnose it this way. She has the potential to be totally well without any illness when she can identify and work through that which is causing her pain and her suffering. And so that is all that I can give you at this time, that she is not really ill, and that is why they are not finding what they expect to find, because her symptoms are the symptoms of an emotional pain and some suffering, and it is causing this manifestation is all I can say to you. And not that she is imagining it. I do not wish to denigrate her symptoms. It is just not an illness that is causing her this problem at this time. It has the potential to develop into that illness. But right now, if she can change her head, think more positively, and take actions of a positive nature, she may be able to fight this off by knowing that she is well and healthy, that she is also happy, and to look at her life and see the happiness and see the health, prosperity that she has, these will manifest for her. It is time for me to say goodnight. And
Thank
so
you.
I will give you all my blessings. At this
Thank you. Good night.
I give you my
Thank you.
blessings. Good night. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so I just came back to say goodbye. I hope you all had a good evening, and or it is Carol, I think, who was her first time. I hope she enjoyed her session, and maybe she will come again. If not, there are other things of interest on the website, and so I just want to say to you all, remember, I love you all. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
You.
Good night.
Okay.